Welcome to video series on Advanced Excel. This series covers several video capsules to explain Excel advanced features. You can also try them using free sample data workbook. Happy learning.
Hello, my friends. I'm sure you would have used Excel extensively for doing forward calculation. What do I mean? Let's say you have a sheet where there is a quantity of an item, the rate, the tax rate, the total value, and added that to total cost of that particular invoice or bill or whatever you call it as. We are using it extensively for that. However, have you ever came across saying that if this is the total value of the bill, I need to calculate saying that what should be the rate at which I should sell this item? Sounds little funny, but yes, Excel has even that ability. Let's try to understand what is the exact requirement. So let's understand the requirement. We have created this worksheet in the last exercise in which for a given type of task we identified how many days it goes. Then we identified the rate for the given rule for the given country, and then finally multiplying it with the utilization, dividing it by 120 days of working, we calculated cost and finally landed here saying that it will cost us $18,340. Now, when this particular thing was put to the sponsors actually came back with a limitation. And what was that? They said that we have budgeted a limited money. When you ask them saying that how much is that, they said 16,000. Now look at this, 16,000 is what they have budgeted. So obviously they were having a concern that you are exceeding by, let me see, 18,000 minus 16,000. You are exceeding this by 2340 days, and now the requirement is that how do you fit this into the given budget. So the discussions went ahead and said that how do we go ahead and do this. So one of the thing which was noticed here was saying that the rate card which is given here, which mentions that it is for the 20 days, is not very realistic. The 20 days is more of a generic thing, even assuming that the staff will have annual holidays and vacations. It is very rarely that in a month they will work only for 20 days. They would work for 22 days. Even if you leave 2 weekly offs in a month, there are going to be at least 22 days in a month. So it was said that we should go ahead and see to it that if we increase number of working days in a month, what would be the impact? Broadly, I am sure you would realize that if you increase number of working days in a month, it will reduce the per day rate, and per day rate will be used for calculating the cost for the task, and hence the cost will go down, and the difference between what is the sponsor's budget and what is the cost will reduce. So the requirement is to go ahead and calculate how many are those working days by which you are going to hit the bull's eye, which means the sponsor's expectation.
Would you like to solve it yourself? Download the sample data workbook from my website. Watch remaining part of video to validate your solution or to know how to solve it.
So how do we do this? Look at it this friends, that where did we wrote that there are 20 days in a month? If you would have noticed, in the first place it was here, wage in US dollar for 20. But how did we use it into the formula? If you come to the costing sheet and go to the formula, you will realize here is that 20. So what we did, we brought the rate and then divided it by 20 because this rate was for a month, assuming that there are 20. Now if I want to do it with 21, I will have to probably change this to 21. If I say 21 days and then pull and drag this here, let's see what happens. Yes, the difference is now shrunk because this 18,000 is now turned to 17,000 and difference is shrunk. But that's not still giving me what I want. So now what do? I change it to 22. Then what do? I do it 23. It is going to be tedious, isn't it? It's not going to be really a great way of doing it. So what do? We actually use a method by which we use this as a variable, and this variable I would like to store somewhere in this sheet itself, and why not here, and then in turn use it into the formula. It will make it more readable and more maintainable. Now I am putting 20 here in this cell, which is H49, and then in turn I am going to use this here as H49, which was the given cell. It remains same. Can I pull this down? I am sure you'd realize this is going to create a disaster. And why is this? It is because this H49 you need to lock. So here what you will have to do, you will have to actually put F4, which means $H $49, and then pull this down and so on. I am not very impressed. I think there should be a better way. So let me hit Control Z, which means undo. I am doing it Control Z, undo, Control Z once more, undo, and Control Z once more, and finally once more, which is what I did. This is what I was using earlier. So now what I do is that this 20, I will put it as 21 and rather give a name to this. And how do I do that? I am sure you would have watched that video, range names. How do we give that? So click here and say days per month, which means these are the number of days. I have given a name to this cell, and now what I will do, I will just put this as days per month. My variable or the cell name is now available. Just take it here, pull and drag it down, and you get the result. But now the beauty is that I can make it 22. I can make it so 22. Look at it, the difference is much lower now, 6,000. If I make it 23, it is negative, which means almost 23. But what is that exact number? What is that exact number? Maybe it is in decimals. How many days we need to work in a month so that we are able to meet exact sponsors expectation? So we need an answer to a question saying that how many days should we work or should my staff work so that this difference becomes zero. Can I ask this question to Excel? Surprisingly, yes, you can ask this question to Excel. So let's frame that question before we see how to do it. The question, let's frame it. The question is that I want the variance to be zero. What does that mean? It means my cost should be in line with budget. So my variance should be zero, and for that I am ready to change my working hours. How much should be that working hours so that the variance becomes zero? So let's do that, and that is here. If you go through this what if analysis, look at it here, it is in data menu. So home, in the data menu, in what if analysis, say goal seek, and in goal seek exactly same three questions. Set cell, which means what is that you want to set? You want to set this variance. So click here H48 to value. How much variance do you want? Obviously I want zero variance, which means the budget. And there he is saying that for that, what are you ready to compromise? What is that you want to change? And here I am ready to compromise working days. And that's where I click on this cell. Look at it here. And now I say okay and see what happens. He calculated it as 22.93. This was because I formatted this to be two decimals. Look at it, he has actually calculated it up to some 10, 12 decimals. So he has calculated it back in such a way that now if the denominator for the cost formula, which means working days in a month, are 22.93, then you will exactly hit the sponsor's expectation. Wasn't that a fun to learn? In this video, we learnt a feature called as goal seek, not very extensively used by several users. Goal seek could help you to do reverse calculations for several things. What are the important points to be noted for using goal seek? Let's see. Points to be noted in simple goal seek. Goal seek could be used for the reverse calculations, which means if something is changed, what's going to be the impact on other one? Let me rephrase this again. What I am trying to say is that if I want to back calculate something, forward calculations, friends, formulas will do. The general formulas do the forward calculation. I change the base and see what's going to be the result. But here it is other way around. You are actually doing saying that I want this result. So what should be the input parameter? Remember, one of the limitation or whatever you call it as of the goal seek is that it will show you one parameter being changed at a time, which means if there is one particular output and that is dependent on 3-4 inputs, you can change one at a time, not all at a time. That's the limitation of this particular thing. It is useful in several scenarios, very often for calculating EMI or equated monthly installments of a loan, or margin percentage to calculated expected financial product value. So there are several things where you have a target number in mind and then are ready to change the input numbers, and you are going to take a decision about the input number. That's where you would be using it. One more important trick which you need to understand, that there is something called as want to set value. This want to set value must be a formula, and by changing must be a number. Remember, here variance is what we are saying set the value, and we are ready to change the number of days because number of days we typed it. It is almost like what Goalseek does. He internally types it so many times. The only thing, they have a complex algorithm by which they will put the border value and keep on shrinking it down till the time they meet at the target number. Goalseek is an awesome functionality of Excel. However, I have quite often noticed not too many people using it. I am sure you would have learnt it and explore this more to make your work into Excel more productive, faster, and most importantly, more of a fun.
Thanks for watching. Visit my playlist for more informative videos. For specific help in Excel and automations using Excel macros, feel free to write to me.